Right, so this afternoon we are going to look at the tense in the indicative mode. Right? This is part 3 of minimum 3, the 4 basic verb forms. So we were saying that the indicative mode, the concern of it is the time, okay? So the time could refer to past, present, and future. So take note of that when we talk about the indicative mode. It talks about the time, whether it's the past, present, and future. And take note that it is concerned with the element of the noun. So the action would either be past, present, and future in the perspective of the speaker. So here we have the chart for the indicative mode, okay? So you have the past time here, and then you have the present and future time. And there are two kinds of endings, the secondary endings and the primary endings. So when you have the primary endings, the timeline would be present and future, all right? Future to, and the future as well. And then the secondary endings, it has an augment, okay? Epsilon. So imperfect. So when you have the augment epsilon, it can either be imperfect, aorist, or perfect. So without the augment here, that tells you that it is present or the future. Of course, the present, the perfect could mean it was already done or the action was done in the past, but it is still continuing up to the present time. That is what you call perfect. All right, are you with me? Hopefully. So when we talk about imperfect, this is an action that happened in the past, but the action is continuous, okay? So this is the sign there. The action is continuous. When we talk about the aorist, the action is punctiliar. That's a period. And that only happened during that period of time. It did not continue on. But for the perfect, you have a certain period of time, and the action was done in a certain period of time, but it is still continuing up to the present time. That is what you call the perfect. All right. All right. Right. So yes, let's go to the next page. But before we go to that, there is a note here. It tells us that in the New Testament, there are 86 verbs that are in the pluperfect tense. So what does pluperfect tense mean? It tells us that it is the same with the perfect tense, okay? The difference only that the line representing ongoing action ends before the now line, okay? Right, let us go back to that now line here. So the now line is this one, okay? This is the now line, right? This is the punctiliar line, punctiliar line. So the pluperfect, if we have the pluperfect is here, pluperfect. So it begins, the dot begins right here, but it continues, but before it reaches the now, the action ends. That is what you call, that is what it means to have what it means to have the pluperfect tense. All right, good. Let's move on. The next page. Okay. Now we have the 4 basic verb forms. So we look at the table here about the basic the four basic verb forms. Now take note, our time factor is the noun, okay? The now. Now, so when we talk about the indicative mode, take note of the noun, all right? It can be either imperfect or aorist. It can also be present tense, now, and it's ongoing. The action is ongoing. Okay, so here is the chart that we see here. So we have the endings right here. We have already mentioned a while ago that there are two kinds of endings, the secondary ending and the primary ending. So when we talk about secondary endings, all past tenses. And the primary ending tells you about all non-past tenses. All right? So again, before we move on, the concern that we have is the now, okay? This is the now, right? Secondary endings would tell you that before you reach the now, these are all belonging to the secondary endings. And from the now to the future, you have the primary endings. Okay, I hope you get that. Right, let's move on to the next. Let's go and look at the chart here. Okay, this chart is very important. So what you can do is you have to memorize this. Or if you cannot memorize, just be very familiar. Okay? So again, this is your now, right? So actions that happen before the now, these will take secondary endings, all past tenses. Okay, all the actions that happens in the now would take the non-past tenses endings. All right, so you have imperfect tense endings. Take note, the imperfect tense endings will always have the epsilon augment. For the present tense ending, it does not have any augments. All right, okay, so right, so for the active voice imperfect augment, you have on, s, n, all right, a or n. So the difference only with epsilon ending and the noon ending, if the verb is followed by a word that begins with a vowel, you have the noon ending, okay? You have the n ending. But if the verb is followed by a word that begins with a consonant, then you have the a ending, all right? But it doesn't make any difference when it comes to the translation, okay? So on SN for the first person, okay? I mean for the active voice. On is this is first person, this is second person, this is third person. Okay? So this is singular, this is plural. This is active voice, middle passive voice, voices. So when you talk about, again, for the middle voice, you say the subject is doing the action at the same time receiving the action, reflexive. Okay, passive, the subject is being acted upon. So these are the endings for the active voice, imperfect tense ending. On, SN, and then you have omen, ete, on. All right, omen, ete, on. For the middle voice passive, you have omen, u, eto, and then you have ometa, este, onto. All right. So when you have, yes, the passive voice, you have the met, okay, the tau also right there, theta, okay. Right, so for the primary endings, you have the active voice, you have O is A. That's for the singular. And omen, ete, and there's no ending for the active voice right here.
Pastor, the book it has. On the book it has.
Here, okay? Right. So the ending is actually here on the other side.
Okay.
So omen, ete, osin. Okay? Right. So it's there. It's on the other side here. And then for the middle passive voices, you have omai, a, shortcut of psi. Yes. The sigma actually, the sigma here is assimilated to the noun, to the verb, to the root of the verb. And then the A, the alpha here lengthens to A. And then the iota does not like to be at the end. So it becomes an iota subscript here. Okay. So that's it. So you have omai, A, etai for the middle passive voice singular. Then you have, for the plural, you have ometa, este, and ontai. Omai, A, etai, ometa, este, ontai. So that's the basic ending. So now this is very important that you have to take note. Okay. Let me see if I can make it a little bit smaller. Doesn't like, okay, yeah, all right, it's there. Very good. All right. Okay, so before we move on, do you have any questions? Okay. So when we talk about primary, the time element is either present or future. Right? For the secondary, means the time element is some point in the past and it may be beyond any change. Okay? Beyond any change. So whatever you do, you can no longer change the past. Past is past. So that is secondary. So if you want to move on with your life, go to the primary, okay? What do you mean by primary? Take note of the now, take note of the future, because the past, you cannot change it anymore. Past is past. Forget about the past and move on. Go from secondary to the primary, okay? That's just, that's not part of our lesson, but I'm just giving you a difference right here, okay? So the augment here, all right, you have the augment. So the augment means earlier, all right? So when you have the augment, when you say earlier, it's earlier than the now. It means to say earlier than the present or the future. So the augment would only go with the secondary tenses. Okay, so right. All right, so one thing that we have to take note here is that the augment, when a verb begins with an alpha, okay, the augment would appear like eta or epsilon iota, especially when a verb begins with a vowel. So take note of that. So the alpha in a kuo, when it becomes a secondary verb, okay, so the alpha would change into an eta or epsilon iota. Right, so the explanation here actually tells us that it becomes eta because epsilon plus alpha, when you put it together, it cannot be placed as a diphthong. They cannot stand together. So instead of standing together, they fuse together and they become one, and it becomes eta. Are you with me? Okay. When you get married to somebody else, you are the epsilon, okay? You are the augment, and your wife is the alpha, the beginning. When you put yourselves together, you become eta. You become one, right? This is an illustration of marriage, basically. So two elements. How can two elements become one? It's very simple. An example of that, epsilon plus alpha. These are two letters, two different letters, but when they come together, they become one, and they become eta. So take note of this. So don't be confused when you see an eta or epsilon iota at the beginning, and then you have the secondary endings. It means to say that there is a change that happened right there. Okay? Right, so any questions before we move on to the next one? Okay, so, right, so this is now, what you have here now is the paradigm, okay? Paradigm here, okay? So if you forget all about what we have for today, don't forget this. This is the most important part of our lesson. I mean, one of the important parts of our lesson, the translation of the indicative mode, okay? All right. So the example that we have is luo. This is the standard example that we have in all grammar books, luo. So you have the present here. The active of luo is luo. It means I lose or I am losing. Take note. This is present. This is present progressive. Nevertheless, it is still present. From the now to the present, it's actually, it belongs to the primary endings. And then you have the middle of luo. You have luo mai, I lose for myself. And the passive is luo mai, I am being loosed. So the ending of the middle and the passive are basically the same in this sentence, okay? In the present, also in the imperfect, except for the future, because the future has an augment here. I mean, what do you call this now? Linking consonant, right? I forgot the technical term for that. But anyway, so you have the sigma there, sigma. And then for the passive, you have theis, okay? Theis. And then for the aorist, there's a difference between the future and the aorist, because the aorist is the past. The past, it has an augment, okay? Augment. And then for the perfect, you have an augment, but there is also a doubling of the first letter of the verb to tell you that that is an imperfect. Okay? Right. So luo, I lose, I am losing. Middle, luo mai, I lose for myself. Passive, luo mai, I am being loosed. For the imperfect, you have active, lo on, I was losing. Middle, elo omen, I was losing for myself. Passive, elo omen, I was being loosed. Elo omen, sorry for that. Elo omen, I was being loosed. Future, active, luso, I will lose. Middle, lusomai, I will lose for myself. The passive, you have luthesomai, I shall be loosed. For the aorist, you have active, elusa, I loosed. For the middle, you have elusamain, I loosed for myself. For the passive, you have eluthane, I was loosed. And for the perfect, you have the active leluka, I have loosed. For the middle, you have lelomai, I have loosed for myself. And the passive, you have lelumai, I have been loosed. All right? So, and please don't forget the endings here. Okay? Luo, lues, lue. Luomen, luete, luusin. Luomai, lueng, luetai. Luometha, lueste, luontai. Okay, you go to the secondary. For the imperfect, you have eloon, eloes, eloen. Elomen, eloete, eloon. For the middle passive, elomen, eloum, eloetu, elometha, eloeste, eloonto. All right, so that's how you're going to look at it. Okay, so, and then for the future, yeah, so you have luso, loses, losei, lusomen, lusete, lususin. Okay, that's for the future. For the middle future, you say lusomai, lusei, luthetai, lusometha, luseste, lusontai. Okay. All right. Okay. Lethontai. Okay. Lethontai. Okay. Lethesontai. All right. Lithosemetha, lethis. For the passive, you have lethesometha, letheste, lethesontai. Lethesomai, lethese, lethesotai. Okay, so that's the passive. For the passive, yes. For the future, you have lusomai, lusei, lusetai, lusometha, luseste, and lusontai. Okay, right. That's for the future. Remember that the future does not have an augment because it's in the now to the present, right? And you follow the pattern that we have right there. Okay, so let's go to the aorist tense. Aorist, when we talk about the aorist, it talks about a simple past. Simple past. In other words, past is past. It does not continue, the action does not continue on, right? It's not continuing on. So forget about the past. That is what? The simple past. And don't let the past continue to move on. Because if you let the past continue to move on, it won't do you any good. All right, of course, the aorist is divided into two, the first aorist and the second aorist. There's no difference in the translations there. Aorist, the first aorist and the second aorist, it's still simple past, okay? It's called first aorist and second aorist because of the variations of the spelling, okay? So you call that as variations of the spelling. So you have what you call the first iris is the regular form. The second iris is the irregular form. So if it does not follow the regular form, it's called second iris. An example in English is down here below. So the regular, for example, the word look. Look is the present. The past tense would be just add ed. So that's what have looked or past. Okay, again, let me repeat that. In English, you have the word look. That's a regular verb, all right? But when it's past tense, you just add ed, it becomes looked. This is what you call the first iris. However, there is an irregular verb. For example, the word go, the past tense, you do not say go, goed, no. But instead you change the spelling. You have the word went, go, went. That means to say, the went here is what you call the second iris. That's the irregular form. So in Greek, you have also the two kinds of iris, the irregular form and the regular form. The regular form is first iris, the irregular form is the second iris. But it doesn't matter whether it's irregular or regular, it's still what? The iris is still simple past, right? So that's how you are going to look at the iris here. Okay, so, right. Okay. Yeah, I think we have covered that one already. Simply. Okay, let's move to the infinitive. The infinitive, okay, let me underline this one. The infinitive is a verb that completes the verbal idea in the preceding verb and shows up in English with the word to in front of the verb. So the example of the word is to walk. This is what you call infinitive. Okay, when you say infinitive, it completes the verbal idea in the preceding word. Okay, so for example, you have here, I am able to walk. That is the sentence. Okay, the to walk here finishes the verb I am able, the verb able. What are you able? All right, I am able to walk. All right, so this is what you call infinitive verb. So we have that also in Greek. The verb to walk is what you call the infinitive. Okay, again, let me repeat that. This is one of the hardest part. Infinitive verb is that completes the verbal idea in the preceding verb. So when you say preceding verb, it is the verb prior to the infinitive. Okay, so it tells us here that the infinitive does not have all of the usual properties of the verb. What are the properties of the verb again? TVM, PN. Are you with me? TVM, PN. Tense, voice, mode, person, number. But the infinitive does not have that one. It does not have the TVM, PN. Rather, what does it have? It does not. Okay. Right, it does not have the person, it does not have the number, okay? It does not have the PN there. All right, so what you have only there is the TVM, tense, voice, and the mood. Okay, tense, voice, and the mood. No person and number. So here, the present active ends with the ending of the infinitive is in. So when you see in for the active, okay, when you see in attached to a verb, then you are going to suspect that that is present active infinitive. Are you with me? Yes or no? Okay. So for example, you have Luain, and then you have the ending in. That means to say that this is present active infinitive. All right. So you would translate that as to lose, okay? To lose. And the present middle passive ends with estai. Very simple. I mean, it's easy to remember. So you can either translate it to lose oneself or to be loosed. So there are only two endings for the present infinitive here. Present middle passive ends with estai, and for the present active ends with ain. Okay, so that is the infinitive, present infinitive. Let's go to the next infinitives. Let's see if we have other infinitives here. All right, so let's study lesson 8, and you will see the different infinitives right there. Okay, more information on the infinitives right here, more information in the infinitives, okay, in lesson 8. So any question before we move on? Are there any questions? All right, so let's go to the exercises. Let's try to read. Okay. Number 1. Number 1 is tis aku tuton ton anthropon. Okay, the semicolon there is a question mark. All right, what is the meaning of the word tis? Okay, this is pronoun, right? Okay, that is a pronoun.
Someone.
Okay, someone or anyone, right? Okay, so let's try to okay. Let's try to parse ako a. What is ako a now? All right, how do we parse the verbs? TVM, PN. What is the tense of ako a? All right, so how do we recognize, how do we analyze this one? This is your verb, ako.
Active.
Is that passive?
Active.
Okay, let's go first to the tense voice mode. Okay, tense voice mode. So what is the tense? Is it present? Is it imperfect? Is it
Present.
Future? All right, this is present. Okay.
Present active person.
Right, very good. Present active. What is the mood? Come on, what is the mood?
Active.
Remember the mode? Mode is, what is the mode again? Indicative. What else? Subjunctive. And
Imperative.
imperative. Okay. So we have 3 modes there. So how about ako a?
Imperative.
Okay. Ako a is basically what?
Imperative.
Indicative, I think. Indicative, Pastor.
All right. So this is, the tense is present. What is the voice?
Active.
What is the voice? Present, active. The mode is indicative.
Present, Pastor.
Yes. Present, active, indicative.
Present,
Person is what?
indicative.
Person. First person, second person, third person. This is third person. The number.
Third person.
What is the number?
Number is singular.
All right, very good. So, present, active, indicative, third person, singular. So this is how you are going to parse the verb. Okay. So we know this one, right? Anyone?
Yeah.
Akuo means, so how will we translate akue? You'll translate akue as, huh? Okay, here.
I'm hearing.
Here.
I am hearing.
I am.
Okay. He hears or he is hearing, right? All right, so that's it. He is hearing.
He is hearing. Someone
He
is
hears
hearing.
or he is hearing.
Someone is hearing.
Okay.
Is
Anyone?
Someone
So this one could be
hearing.
anyone
Someone or
or
listen.
someone.
Listen.
Okay, so you will translate this akue as is
Someone hearing.
Hearing or listen.
someone hearing
Someone
or
is someone
listening.
hearing.
Listen.
or listening.
Okay, ano?
You have the word tuton. What is tuton?
Tuton.
Demonstrative pronoun, right? Okay. Ending. This one ending. Ending. What does that tell you? You have now the case, gender, number, CGN. Okay. Case, gender, number, and then parts of speech. So tuton is what? What is the case of tuton?
Genitive.
Accusative.
Genitive, Pastor.
Huh? It's accusative.
Genitive, Pastor.
Masculine, singular.
Microphone?
Right. This is accusative. All right. Because ho to tuton. Okay. Ho to tuton. Hoi ton tois tus. Okay. Ho to tuton. Okay. This is the ton. Right? You have the ton. You have the ton here. This is actually accusative. Okay. Right. So in 1 minute, we're going to end. Okay, let me finish this. Tuton, accusative. What is the gender? Masculine. The number, singular. Part of speech. This is personal pronoun. Okay, personal pronoun.